Alison Hinds getting ready to release the Soca Queen. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy, for sure.
And it's not just because your music is playing in it.
No, it's not just because my music is playing in the background. No, it's. Why would it have anything to do with that?
Well, we're already mentioning the Soca Queen. And I know you've heard this question already. I'm going to ask again. What does Queen of Soca mean to you?
It means a lot to me because it was a title that was given to me by my fans and my supporters. That's why it means so much more to me. It wasn't a name that I created or that my management team created or anything like that. It's a name that developed over the years because of the consistency when I was with Square One of, bringing out music every year, good music, producing hits constantly. And also our performances as well. I like performances where we always gave of our all. It was always high energy. So it means a lot to me that my fans feel that way about me and they see me that way. And, I do my best to try to live up to that.
Now, where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in London, England, East London to be exact. And I moved to Barbados when my parents separated. I was still in primary school at that point in time, and then I did my secondary schooling in Barbados.
Now, how did you get into performing?
It was after I left school. After I left school, I entered a local talent competition. Actually, I was entered into via Anderson Armstrong, otherwise known as Youngblood, and he was the one that entered me in the competition. He heard me sing over the phone, of all things, and helped me choose my songs and, really guided me along. He really worked with me well. And I was very, very shy at that point in time. I would just stand in the middle of the stage and sing. That was it. I couldn't do anything else, but I had a voice.
Right.
And went all the way to the finals, and I placed third that year of the competition. And after that, then he said to me, well, there's this band that we have called Square One, and we're looking for a female vocalist, and we think that we would like for you, to have you. Would you like to join the band?
How old were you?
I was about 16 at that point in time. And I thought, yay, I want to get in the band, yay! Because because it was a dream of mine from a child growing up in England.
To perform?
I imagined myself, on a stage with thousands of people in front of me. I had a brush as a microphone, and I had all the antics down, and I knew every song on the radio, and,
Who are some of the artists you were mimicking when you had a brush in there?
When I had the brush in hand, I was mimicking groups like The Police, ABBA. There was
Dancing Queen.
Kate Bush was very popular at the time. There were quite a few artists that were around at that point in time that I just...
No Mikey J?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. MJ, of course. Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Of course. But that was, obviously that was the type of music that I was into at that point in time because I grew up in England. I was a very British child.
Mm-hmm. We wouldn't know it now, but,
Well, I can change when I want to.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, like, right. And but yeah, it was a dream. It was a dream. So when Andy asked me to join the band, I jumped at the opportunity, and I spoke to my mother about it, and she was very supportive. She was very supportive because she knew that I was always coming home and singing songs, and I was always singing, some song.
And then she said to you, "Oh, your schoolwork, like you know the music that."
Yeah, of course. But at this time, by this time, I just left school. So she said to me, but I need to meet these guys. I need to meet these guys personally because obviously, this is her daughter, this is her young daughter. There's a group of guys that she doesn't know that we've never met before. And the guys, they were very good natured. They came to my house. They met with my mom. My mom sat, talked with them and let them know was what and laid down the law and told them, you'll have to look after her. She's the youngest. She's the only girl in the band. Have to look after her, make sure that, you pick her up and you get her back home safely. And, as long as that is done, then she can go and she can do her thing. And many people, all kinds of people, when they found out that I was in a band, at that time it was a hotel band. They were like, oh, how can you let her go in a band?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's drugs and drinking and smoking and whatever and sex and everything.
You didn't have any bigger brothers,
And
did you?
no, I was the only child, so.
There you go.
And my mother said to them, you know what? I raised her. I know the child that I raised. I know that she's gonna go and do her very best, and I have faith in her. So I'm not worried about those things. Even if those things come around, she's gonna know how to handle herself. So my mother had faith in me.
Wow.
From then.
Now, I mean, I guess this could be personal, so you don't have to answer this, but were there experiences that you and her had gone through that she could have had such faith in you? I mean, my mother wasn't trying to get me out to the house.
I think when my parents separated, it caused my mother and I to get closer.
Okay.
So because it was just the two of us.
Okay.
So, and we, she was the kind of mother that I could confide in her about anything, and she would talk to me too. So we had that kind of exchange, and I think
yes, there was still discipline.
exactly. But I have utmost respect for my mother. I love her dearly, and I have utmost respect for her. And I would never, even now as a big woman, with a family of my own, I would never ever disrespect my mother, ever, whether she's around or not. And
The tone still scares you.
I'm
doesn't it?
telling you, and the look, and because of that, because we had that kind of relationship, I think that is what that caused her to trust me. I was never a child that was very wayward and that was untrustworthy. So she didn't have reason to think that I was gonna stray and start smoking and drinking and just wilding out kind of thing. And I always had a certain amount of freedom as well. She never not that she didn't keep a leash on me, but I was given a certain amount of freedom, and as long as I was back in the house by a certain time and I respected, her rules, then everything was fine, and that's what I did. So.
Boy, my mother said the same to me, but everything wasn't fine. So okay, now square one, hotel band, in the drugs and sex. What happens next?
Well, I mean, we were in the hotels, and then we crossed over into the nightclub circuit, which is really where the
Right.
drugs and stuff is.
Right. And they weren't worried about you at that point.
No. And so we were actually doing hotels and nightclubs at the same time at one point. And then we decided, we're going to give up the hotels completely and just be a club band. And that's what kind of put us on the road then to, okay, we have to record our own stuff, and start getting our stuff out, because now we're really in the general public's eyes. So we had to start recording our own stuff. And we were actually with Ice Records, Eddie Grant's label, for a little while. We weren't with him for very long because we decided, there was some creative differences, and we didn't really have any control because Eddie was executive producer of everything. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna leave and we're just gonna do our own thing. We're gonna finance it however we can. We're gonna record our stuff. We're gonna produce it, and we're gonna do it a square one. We're gonna sink or swim by ourselves. And the first album that we produced ourselves would have been Four Sides, which had Ragamuffin on it.
Okay.
And Ragamuffin was Road March that year. I was the first woman to win Road March. And, after that really gave us then the encouragement. I was like, yeah, we could continue going now. We're gonna start to find who we were and to find our sound and find the square one sound and our music. And, we just kept going from there.
And you weren't just the first woman to win Road March just for Barbados. You're the first one to win Road March in soca, period. Whether Trinidad.
I'm the second woman in the Caribbean. The first woman would have been Rose.
Rose,
Calypso
but she's
Rose.
not soca. She's calypso.
Right. So yes. First, yeah, definitely.
One queen to the other. Okay. Now, what occurs next? First woman, you're fronting a band, something that's not normally seen. A woman fronting a band. What's going on here?
That happened more so through my music. It wasn't really a conscious effort in terms of the band. it was to a point. Terry Arthur, who was one of the last members to join the band, he became music. He was musical director, and when I did Ragamuffin, he was the one that said to me, "You know what, Alison? Andy's the person that's been doing, all the party tunes and up front and so on. You need to come up front now. You need to stake a claim, you know." And he wrote Ragamuffin for me. And after that, he wrote I. He wrote I Am Bazadi, all kinds of songs then after that.
Explain to people what Iron Bazadi means.
Iron Bazadi is a Juve tune more so than anything else.
Juve means?
Juve is the celebration part of Carnival that happens in the wee hours of the morning, specifically in Trinidad. Juve starts from about 3 o'clock in the morning and goes till 6, 7, 8. And you're on the road, and it's known as Dirty Mass. You have Dirty Mass and you have Pretty Mass. Dirty Mass is you have mud bands, oil bands, paint bands. So you're covered from head to toe in oil or mud or paint, so you wear your oldest clothes,
right,
sneakers that you don't care about, and you know you can go wash your hair when you're done.
Right.
And you go on the road, and there are music trucks, and there are also steel bands on the road as well for Juve. And actually, the music bands, the music trucks, usually as a sign of respect to the steel band, when a steel band is approaching, the music truck will shut down and let the steel band pass.
Oh, that doesn't happen here.
And then continue on. Yeah, in Trinidad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hot.
And
And Bazadi.
I Am Bazadi is, that's what I'm working my way to.
Right, right.
Within the bands now, you also have like individual bands that don't have music really. They have iron. They have, somebody got a piece of steel, somebody got bottle and spoon, somebody got drum, percussion instruments. So iron is the iron that and Bazodi means you're out of your head, you're crazy. It just got you. You're just gone, head gone.
Right.
You understand? So that's what Iron Bazodi is about.
Head sick, gone. Okay.
Head sick, correct.
Okay, now you're fronting the band.
Yes.
Right? And then you're telling us about Terry Arthur's song. Which
That's
is, of course,
right.
live.
That's right. And when I first came into Trinidad, I first went to Trinidad, I realized all the bands just about were fronted by men.
Right.
Either by one guy or 3 guys or 4 guys or 2 guys. And if there were girls in the band, they were there basically because they looked good. They sang background vocals. That was it.
So
If they did come
you
up,
look good and you sing up front.
that's right. And if they did get the opportunity to come up front, they sang one song, and that was it basically.
Right.
And it wasn't, they didn't really have that conviction because they weren't really, they didn't really have the encouragement as women to really, go up front and command an audience. They would just go up and sing their song and then drift into the back, and that would be it. So then I came along with.
What was the reaction from Trinidad?
It was
Band with a
huge.
woman.
It was huge. It was huge. People were blown away. They were blown completely away. They were, who is this girl, Alison? Where she come from? She come from Barbados? And ting. I'm like, we gotta go and see this girl. We gotta go and see this band and everything. So it was a lot of excitement. And actually, a lot of the female artists that have come up since then have come to me at various points and said, well, Alison, I remember the first time I saw the Ragamuffin video, or I always used to watch you on stage, or I always listened to your music, and it encouraged me to want to go up on the stage and do my thing as well. So
It was like a floodgate right after.
Oh yeah. Within a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, on that point, I mean, we're clearly speaking about woman empowerment. Has there been, in the soca industry, in the music industry, it's almost always male dominated. Are there other areas after you came in that we see women taking more of an assertive role in soca?
In soca?
Yeah. Or Caribbean music?
Yeah.
From what you saw.
From for sure in soca, and not just in Barbados. I've seen it in Trinidad, in Antigua, and St. Vincent. In quite a few of the islands, I've seen females really come into the forefront, and that's a good thing.
Right.
That's a good thing. And I can't say that it was hard for me when I first came into it either, because I had good music, I had hit songs, and
Good
I
support
had
band.
I had a good support of Square One. We were all there together, and my male counterparts respected what I did and what I do.
That's excellent.
They respected the way that I could command an audience and step into the spotlight and really do my thing.
Come on, there must have been one person be like, this girl don't know what she doing.
Well, if there was, I didn't listen to them. That was a good thing. But in general, I could say that I didn't. It wasn't hard for me to do what I did, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I had Square One. I had that support, and we could lean on one another, and really be there for one another.
That's excellent. Now, we spoke about being the first woman with a road march song. Square One is clear taking off. You have Ragamuffin as a hit and Bazadi as a hit. Love that song. What's happening next? Traveling? What's going on?
Yes, we started touring soon after that, and we continued touring then steadily for the next few years, continually producing music and just touring and touring. And the band just really got more and more popular, and it became the name became a household name within the Caribbean region and the various communities, West Indian communities around the world. And then I got pregnant, and
But before you go there, I want to hear about DJ Ride and Faluma, which are both songs that you don't normally hear from soca, at least at that time,
right.
from soca artists or bands. So
Right.
how that came
right.
about.
DJ Ride was a track that Terry wrote that? Yes, Terry Arthur wrote DJ Ride.
So many number one hits.
And actually, where we recorded it with Peter Coppin, Masterpiece Studios. At the time, he had a very, very small studio. Like, it could have been like just here, just really, really small. And the year before, he had done Lil Rick's song Hard Wine. He had
Okay.
produced that, and that was the first time he'd ever produced anything.
Wow.
And all kinds of people, within the industry were like, oh, that song sounds so bad, the production was terrible, blah, blah, blah. Your counterparts,
Right.
So Peter got a lot of licks for it. The song was real popular, people loved it. But of course, the musicians,
Right.
were like, oh, the production was terrible, and blah, blah, and it was
right.
that. So Terry said, you know what, we're going to go to Peter. Because I don't think that, I think we can help him to produce a good song.
All you look on Terry like you crazy?
Was that?
Did all you look at Terry like he was
Not
crazy?
really, not really. He actually, as musical director, he had, a good ear,
Okay.
and he recognized talent,
Okay.
very well. So he could see the potential in Peter, and he felt that DJ Ray would have been a good song for him to work with. And he was a DJ. Peter is a DJ still. So he wanted the vibe coming from the point of view of a DJ. And then Terry, as the musician, would then be able to provide the musical part of it and make it right. So that's what we did. We went to his studio and we did DJ Right. And Peter, with his input as a DJ, gave it the, said, well, as a DJ, this is what he likes to hear. This is what he likes, this is what DJs like. And then Terry, with the musical ear, then said, well, okay, musically, this is what you do. And DJ Right came out and people just loved it.
We in Jamaica. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, Jamaica. When we got the feedback that Jamaica loved DJ Right, I was like, wow, this is the land of reggae and dance hall, and they love DJ Right. That was huge for us. That was really huge for us.
Faluma.
Faluma, we went to Suriname for the first time. We wanted to know what was the most popular song there, and the promoter sent us this song, Faluma. And of course, it's in a language that I had never even heard of before. So there wasn't anyone I could go to. So I said, all right. And we didn't have a lot of time, actually, before. So I said, all right, I'm going to try and get the phonetics, just listen to it and get it phonetically correct. The band dealt with the music, and we said, well, okay, we got this. We went down to Suriname. And a couple of times for interviews, I kind of did like an a cappella version of it, and people started to freak out from there. So
Wow.
when we actually performed it that night, I mean, the place went buck wild. Absolutely. And this show was, I think it was, must have been historic for Suriname because we performed in a huge gymnasium. The gymnasium was sold out, packed out completely. It was shown on TV live. It was also on radio live
Oh,
all
wow.
over Suriname. So it was huge. It was really huge. And the show was amazing. The show was absolutely amazing. The people were great. And Faluma went down, really, really good. And we went back to Barbados and we performed it a couple of times in Barbados, but obviously it wasn't familiar to anybody there. And but there were a couple of people, like our fans, that really liked it, and they were saying to us, "Why don't y'all record our song?" And we thought about it and thought about it. It took us a little while, but people kept coming to us, "Record this song, this song. We like this song." So we said, "All right," and we linked up with the group that originally recorded it, and they came to Barbados to help us to make sure that we got everything right in the song.
Oh, that was cool. Which group is that?
What was the name of the group? Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the group right now.
Okay.
Right now, I can't remember the name of the
We'll
group.
send Dedrick to research it.
And but they came and they helped us with the background vocals and helped me with my lyrics to make sure that I had everything right. And when after we listened to it, after I put down lead vocal and so on, we were like, wow, this thing got some energy. I wonder how it can go down, in Barbados, and we released it for Crop Over, and it went crazy, absolutely nuts. People just lost their minds over the song, and people were like, "Well, we don't care what it means. We don't care what it is. We just love it," and people just went nuts. And it was a late entry into Miami Carnival. It was late, a song that came out late in Miami Carnival.
Right.
Did the same thing. It just took off almost instantaneously within Miami Carnival. People they lost it. It went throughout the Caribbean. It went everywhere. Up to London, parts of the US. It just went everywhere.
What does it mean? Or does anybody know what it means?
Yeah, it's actually a folk song.
Right.
It's a folk song. If I could remember, I can't even remember now because they told me what it meant. Because
Okay.
there's not a literal translation for it. It's kind of a general translation. But I cannot remember anymore what it means. I would have to ask. I would have to check again.
All right, we'll send Dedrick on that too.
Yeah.
All right, now, togetherness. Tell us about togetherness and what is the response of people who've been listening to the message, do you think?
Togetherness was a track that was actually written by a guy called Daddy Iroy. He wrote the bulk of the song. The intro, which is the "Posse, let me see your raise your hand," Terry wrote that. Because originally the song was just starting from "Jump and let them see love." That's where it was starting from. That's where Iroy wrote, and it was good. It had good energy and everything. And when Nicholas, because we worked with Nicholas Branca, Chamber Studios in Barbados, and when Nicholas put the intro music at the top, Terry listened to it. He said, "You know what? I think this needs some lyrics to it. This needs something for people to sing along to."
Right.
And that's what he came up with. The "Posse, let me see you raise your hand and put them in the air." And when we put that at the top of it, that just, completed the song. And we put out the song and people loved it. And but it was the kind of song that it just grew. It just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing to a point where now it's a song that I can't perform and not do that song.
Trust me.
And the response to the song is as huge as the first day, as if it was brand new and just came out. People love it because they sing it to the top of their voices. They jump up and you can. That's the time that you can really see the unity. You can see everybody just jumping and having a good time. It doesn't even matter what island you come from. We're all the Caribbean people and we jump in together, And that's what I love about that song. The vibe of that song is just so correct.
Do you think people are actually taking that message, or does that message stay at the carnival or at the fete? I mean, do you find people actually listening to that message?
I think to a certain point people are. I mean, we still have our differences and there are still some things with the, the big island, small island mentality and, and it's it's not going to happen overnight or 2 years, or you can't put a time frame on it. But I think there is a lot more unity within the Caribbean, you, especially even when it comes to I know of Bajans that go to St. Lucia to vacation, they go to St. Vincent, they go to Grenada, they go to Antigua,
That's because
or
y'all
for the
got money.
or for the various carnivals. There are a lot of Bajans I know that go down to Vincy Mas and go to Trinidad. Trinidadians coming to Crop Over, going to Jamaica Carnival. There's a lot more than it was before. Before it was more insular. It was like, well, Barbados, Crop Over was Bajans, and Jamaica Carnival wasn't there at all. And, and but now you're getting more of an exchange. I mean, we could still do with some more. That's the truth. We could still do with more people, West Indian people vacationing, especially in the Caribbean, because if people can save up for years and come to the islands and and be freaking out, we should be able to appreciate, because every island is different. I've been to almost every island. Every island is different. Grenada is different to Antigua, different to Jamaica, different to Barbados, different to Trinidad. Every island. Yes, they all have sea, sun, and sand, but the cultures, the food is different. Preparation of food, spices they use, just so many. Lemonade in Jamaica and the same as lemonade in Barbados, and the same as lemonade in St. Vincent. So there are differences, and it's good for. I mean, I even want to do that with my daughter and encourage her to be able to see the Caribbean for what it is, that is beautiful, and it's every island is different, and to appreciate what we have where we are, and not have to skip to Miami and skip to New York and before bypassing the Caribbean in order to stop in the Caribbean, visit where your ancestry is and where your country and your region, and get to know it. That way you when you do travel then outside of the Caribbean, you can say to people, you can not only speak on your own island, but you can speak on other islands in the Caribbean as well.
So easily, events like Crop Over and Carnival almost become tools of unifying all of us. Outside of that, what importance is it, in your opinion, of Crop Over and Carnival, outside of just entertainment?
It's a good way of letting people see our culture, and to also to help us to maintain our culture as well, because with the internet and cable and so many outside influences, especially with the young people that are coming up, they're coming up in a world of MP3s and iPods and cell phones, and as I said, the internet and cable, and you're getting more information quicker.
Yes.
So we in the Caribbean then have to be quicker on the ball in terms of making sure that the culture is right there in their face, and that they understand you have to be proud of this. This is ours. This is where we come from, and to be proud to share it with other people, and not to be so quick to adopt other people's cultures, to adopt the Americanization, and to adopt, to understand that where you come from is not backward, and it's not, we're not savages, and we're not stupid, and we're extremely knowledgeable. I think actually we're sometimes even more knowledgeable than people that live in the bigger countries, because we have to be aware of the outside world.
Yes.
We have to, because we're a small region. So we definitely have to keep our carnivals alive, keep our food preparation alive, keep our dance alive, keep our way of dancing alive, because all of that is ours. It belongs to us, and we have to be proud of it.
I hear you. All right, Saharan. Let's get to Saharan.
Yes.
Please tell us about Saharan, who Saharan is.
Saharan is my daughter. She is 3 years old, almost 3.5 now, going on 33. And she's the light of my life. I miss her so much when I'm on tour. Like right now, I'm ready to go home.
Yes, we heard you have to go tomorrow because it's Saharan. We understand.
And she has just added such a dimension to my life. And being a mother is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's something that I I don't regret ever having her. I love watching her grow and watching her become a person, and develop. But she already has a personality. She's already a small person. Um, she has her ways of doing things and saying things, and it's so interesting to me. And I'm always amazed when I look at her. I'm like, wow, I gave birth, and this little person, that I have this responsibility too. That me and my husband have this responsibility too. And
By the way, who's the lucky guy?
he's a guy named Edward. He's not in the music business. He manages horses. He's
A guy who manages horses?
yep, manages a horse farm actually.
Was he able to marry you?
Yeah.
It's like finding out that there's some Rolls Royces for $2 and I'm sorry. 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 Scratch that.
I'll take. But he's very supportive of what I do. He always has been, and that helps a lot. And also when I'm away, he's a wonderful father. He's really, really good with our daughter. So, and her grandparents are very involved as well, and which helps because that's the whole support system that we have.
So it's grandparents on both sides?
On both sides, yeah. My mom and my in-laws.
Okay.
Yeah. They help a lot. They really, really help out a lot, and I'm very, very grateful for them and to them for the time that they put in and the effort they put in to help us, and to help Edward, because obviously he's still working when I'm not there. But she is such a ball of energy, and so inquisitive and so quick and intelligent, and I'm amazed by her every day, just every day. And as I said, I can't wait when I go home and Edward brings her to the airport. She runs and comes to me, and that's just it.
Sounds like her mother's daughter.
Oh yeah.
Now, I guess I'm assuming that you got pregnant with her kind of around the time when Square One is on top of the world, and everybody knows Alison in front of Square One. So, how does the pregnancy relate to Square One and your career and so?
Well, at the time, I was ready to be pregnant at that point in time. I wanted to have a child, and
You could have come to Jamaica. So, scratch that.
I'll take. So when I did become pregnant, I told manager Patrick, and I said, well, I'll work until I'll come off at 5 months, which was actually the end of that particular year. So I said, yeah, I can I'll continue on until 5 months, and then I'll have to bow out then, obviously. And so initially when I left the band, I left on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
While I was away, it was mostly after I had my daughter that things kind of really cemented for me. But I was thinking about where I was in my life and in my career, and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, how I wanted to proceed. And my present manager, who wasn't my manager then, he was just a friend, Van Gibbs. He and I sat down and we talked a lot, and we discussed it. And he seriously spoke to me, and he said, you know what, Alison, you have to look at where your pros and cons. Look at you're not getting younger. That's the reality of the business. And there's so much that you can do. You can so much more left for you to do, to achieve. So after my daughter came into the world, it really kind of cemented everything that I wanted to go solo. I wanted to explore being a solo artist and really delving into myself as an entertainer, and really blossoming and really coming into my own. And
But
also,
you blossomed already as far as we were concerned.
well, there was still more for me. There was still more for me personally. There was still more for me. There was more that I knew that I could do and that I could achieve. And being a mother and having a young child, I wanted to have the flexibility, to not miss certain things in Like I was there for her first day of school. I was
Right.
there, I'm home for every birthday.
When is her birthday?
Her birthday is May 4th.
May 4th.
Yeah,
When is your birthday?
June 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. And I, I'm home for her birthdays. I was her first sports day. I was home for that. Things like that. I can say to my manager, Saharan has this going on or that's happening, and I want to be there for that. And he totally respects that. So well, okay, we'll block off that time, and there'll be nothing booked for that time. So I wanted to be able to have that opportunity, to have that flexibility. And so I spoke with the band and spoke with the manager. I spoke with the band. I let them know what was going on, and it was very emotional because we've grown up together, and we did a farewell show, and I was in tears, and some of our fans were in tears, and it was a very.
Must have been a river.
It was.
I mean,
It was very emotional. It was a very emotional night, but it was that we're still friends, and we
Right.
still we communicate with one another. I'm hoping to work with Terry again soon. So, and that was, at least it wasn't a bad breakup where, it was like,
no place for a throne. I mean.
yes.
So that leads the way to Roll It Gal. How did that come about?
Roll It Gal was, Van had the music, Shell Shock was the person from Trinidad. He had put together a whole set of rhythms and sent them to Van. And that particular rhythm kind of jumped out at Van. Van said, if we could
Good ear.
put the right song on this music, it would be a really good song. And he met Chantel and realized that, she was young at the time. And
Is she no longer young?
well, she's still young, but she was a young writer.
Right.
And
Okay, now she's a veteran again.
not really. And he said to her, I want you to, to write a song for Alison. Bear in mind who she is, where she is in her life, the fact that she's done, woman empowerment songs before,
Right.
and make it really specific to her. And that's what she came up with. When I heard the demo for the first time, I completely fell for the song, hook, line, and sinker. That was it. I was ready to go and record it right then and there. I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And maybe about a week or two later, it was soon after that I went into the studio, and Slam City Studios, Chris Allman. And I said, Chris, I want to go and do a rough track on this song. I really need to put down something on this song. And I went and I did one track and came back out, and Chris said to me, well, that's it. There's nothing else for you to do. It's done. I mean, if that was supposed to be a rough track, hey, that's it, And
I don't want to see what you call perfect.
and that was it. I just one take and it was done. And I think it was because I just identified so much with the song. I just
Excellent.
claimed it from the beginning. We did background vocals, and when it was mixed then, when the final mix was done, and I was on my way to the radio station to go and launch it on the radio. And I pushed in because I had heard the rough, and when I heard the final mix, I was blown away when I heard the final mix.
Wow.
I was like, wow. I was like, wow, how is Barbados gonna receive this? And I went to went to all the radio stations and dropped the song, and people just loved it.
You personally went to race?
Yeah.
What if you bring it, must play?
Yeah.
I mean, if Van bring it, we might, But if you bring it, it's pretty much a done deal.
It was, the response to it was almost immediate. People just loved it.
Now, at this point, did you already have the full concept of the album?
Not yet.
Had you so you dropped the song. How are you looking at Alison as a solo artist and the album coming forward? I mean, what's going through your mind?
Well, we wanted to have a single out that was going to be really strong.
Yeah, because everybody was asking, what's up with Alison?
Right. We wanted to bring out a single that was going to be really strong, and that there was no doubt that Alison was back. So it couldn't just be a regular song. Of course, Roll It Gal is not your regular run-of-the-mill song.
Clearly.
And
Video's
so
not regular either.
so I had released that, and I released Love Affair Love Affair that same year, and but it was released with a view to releasing singles
Okay.
in the process of putting together the album.
Right.
So we never intended at that time to bring out an album right then and there. We just wanted to put out a series of singles so that people would start to get familiar. So by the time the album was ready, you already had an idea of what was going to be on the album, as well as the new tracks that you may not have heard before.
And
you
also
know.
hearing Alison solo.
Exactly. And to establish, this is Alison, solo artist, this is me. And so it was a process that we went through. And it took us a little while to put together the album because we wanted to make sure that we had the right songs. And Van is very much a perfectionist when it comes to, he's not going to take any old thing, or there might be something that I might think is nice. He'll be like, yeah, it's nice, but it's not really where we want to be, because he always has in mind the big picture,
Right.
as to our main goal.
Right.
I mean, yes, you have a series of goals that you work to reach, but in terms of the big picture, he always has that in mind. So it's like, yeah, it's a nice song for now, but we want something that's gonna go way beyond that. A classic.
Right.
Music that's gonna last beyond me, and so that's very important. So in selecting the songs, he wanted to make sure that those are the kind of songs that we had. We had songs that could appeal to a wide section of people, and that could keep our core market happy, as well as reach into the mainstream market. So that's why I say it took time. It wasn't a matter of putting together the album in like 2 months. Took time to select the songs, to get the music. If we had rhythms, to get the right person to write the right song for that rhythm, to fine tune the songs, all that kind of stuff. So and I was there for for every part of it. I was involved in every part of it.
Well, Faluma, Ladies Rule, Togetherness, songs that people know already is on the album.
Correct.
Tell us a couple of the new songs that you think people really need to check out.
There's a track called Thunder, which is going to be one of the follow-up singles. Thunder is a reggaeton type track. Very gritty, very edgy, very danceable. Has a kind of storyline. It's basically, I'm challenging a guy, he's like, you want to challenge me and I can put you in your place, kind of thing, that kind of song.
Right.
Yeah, woman in charge, always. There's another track called Blazing, which is a really nice dance track. Very club influence kind of track. And my daughter's favorite track, actually.
Okay.
That's one of her favorite tracks. And After Roll It Gal was Blazing. Blazing was her favorite track. And then third in line is Ladies Room.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love her
Empowering lady.
Oh, I'm telling you. She knows what she's about, I'm telling you. There's another track which is going to be one of the other follow-up singles called The More You Get, which was written and produced by Salam Remy. And it's, again, a really nice crossover dance-oriented track. Good energy, good vibe. And again, a woman in charge tune. Let any fellas know, hey, we are going to tell y'all what to do.
Right.
And y'all are just going to obey.
Well, Alison tells us what to do. We just ask how high.
So there's also a ballad on the album called Island Girl.
Island Girl.
Yeah, which was written by Dale Rudder. He also wrote Thunder, and he wrote Blazing. And it's a really nice, very mellow kind of track. It was reminiscent of where I started as a ballad singer. So it was nice to, we wanted to put something that was a departure from what people know me for.
But a full circle for you.
Correct. So, yeah.
That's hot. Soca Queen, November 6th. Well, before we wrap things up, you have any advice for... You are now the queen. Do you have any advice for your subjects? Especially those who want to get into the business?
Right. Those that want to get into entertainment, especially, if you're inexperienced, whatever voice training, whatever professional training you can get, try to get. It's always good to have good management, and your management should be knowledgeable, not somebody that's, kind of a novice to the whole thing, because if you're inexperienced, you don't want somebody, it's not going to work.
Blind leading the blind.
Exactly. And find somebody that believes in you and your talent even more so than you believe in yourself sometimes.
Right.
I can honestly say that my manager is like firmly in my corner. He will fight tooth and nail for me. He firmly believes in my talent. He believes in the product that we're marketing, which is me and my music and the culture of the Caribbean. And you need somebody like that is going to really be in your corner, that's really going to fight for you, because you have to deal with the creative side of it. So let management, but obviously be in contact with your management as to what's happening, what's going on, what they're doing, what they're achieving, what they're not, that kind of thing. And obviously, be aware of the business side of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And enjoy it, enjoy it for what it is, and make sure you're in it for the right reasons, because you love it. Not because you want to be popular and, you want to get girls or you want to get guys or whatever it is, that you really have a passion for the music, and that even if you weren't getting paid for it, that you would still want to do it, that you still be involved in it in some way, and wherever you get your spiritual guidance from, that's also very important too, because that keeps you grounded, that keeps you centered when things get, a little bumpy or difficult, and also surround yourself with positive people.
Atlanta Carnival 2008, we're going to see you?
That's a possibility. We'll see. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be averse to that at all.
And, next time you come, I got to talk to Edward, Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen of Soca, the Soca Queen, Alison Hinds. All hail the Queen, November 6th. Good night.
Good night. Bye.